Good morning, everyone. I'm Tarsila Orsini, Independent Director of Companies and Conscious Capitalism Brazil. I will have the joy of moderating this beautiful webinar. This webinar will be conducted in Portuguese and English and will have simultaneous translation. Please choose your preferred language. There's a little button called Interpretation in the shape of a globe next to the Zoom button. So you must click and choose your preferred language there, ok? Então, agora, bem-vindos ao webinar.
And now starting, welcome all to this webinar about carbon offset and how we can change the planet. So we have here three big leaders from three organizations that are making our history. Most of all, they are three great human beings that have a lot in common. You'll see that all of them have a contagious energy. They are such visionary leaders. And, I know that phrase we say, I didn't know it was impossible, so I went there and I did it. So these are the three people. There is Dario, that is one of the most talented young people I know, who has created Grupo Boanga and now is directing Conscious Capitalism in Brazil. So he's really engaged in transforming the way of doing business in Brazil. Renato has a lot of energy, motivation, and impact. He's the CEO of Vida. It's the second biggest enterprise of open capital in Brazil. It's a B Corp, and they offer mobility services. And Ben, who's from the Netherlands, who's a world citizen, and for more than a decade he's been dedicating his life to many countries. He's from Black Jaguar Foundation, and it's an organization that goes much further from the only planting trees, and has this reforestation progress with a biodiversity project that goes through Amazon, and that deals with all the local development and regenerating these ecosystems. And we're really lucky to have him here with us. So now I'm going to give our guests the word. They'll have 10 minutes to give an opening to the speech, and at the end we'll be looking at the questions. We also have with us the Black Jaguar Foundation people, so Marina, Daisy, Carol, they are here with us, supporting us with any doubts you might have. So, starting with Dario, can you give us a bit more information about what is conscious capitalism, or your relationship with the enterprises and Black Jaguar? Radio speaking. Thank you, Tarsila. I'm really happy, really feeling at home, more at home than I feel in my own house, with Renato and everyone who's here, people who work to make society and communities better. So the movement, the conscious capitalism movement, is a global movement. So if you're here and you haven't heard of it yet, so it's a movement that started in the year 2000 in Babson College in the US with Haj Sizaja, our founder in the USA. And he wasn't very happy with how much marketing investment there were in the enterprises, and how there was a group of enterprises that didn't put so much money in marketing as the other enterprises. And he started a study observing the social performance and financial performance of these businesses and looking at about a 15-year range. And he noticed that the difference there was between this business, it wasn't about marketing, it was about consciousness. So organizations like Whole Foods and organizations that really thrived over the year from sharing 4 principles. So he mapped it in his first book that is called Forms of Endearment. And it's a book where he brings also the stock market prices of these companies and the 4 pillars that he sees are a bigger purpose, a higher purpose. So why we do things, and there is a clear vision of healing and making the world a better place. So it's not only a why, but it has to look at how can we heal the world and organization and society as a whole. Secondly, he noticed the orientations for stakeholders. So we've had 50 years from Friedman's memorable phrase of how business should bring profit. And we have another event here in the movement talking only about stakeholders, orientation, and it's not something new. It's a whole different way of looking into business. And business had to look at communities and also stock market people, and Haish brings this reflection in this book, and he sees that these organizations that do have these principles, they had better stories and they were inspirational to community. And then the third pillar is conscious leadership. And we have a lot of conscious leadership in this webinar today. So companies didn't really have this healing purpose. So leaderships that want to take this healing opportunity into society and into community and go beyond their products and services. So, and one thing they could also do is build a culture that bring this enterprise and vision, and so that everyone that works there has this vision of purpose, has this vision of why do I do what I do. And he publishes this book, and today we're talking as conscious capitalism to this community. And there is a page in this book where he shows stock market options and how these companies actually grow. So I'm really, really happy to be here talking. And what he sees is that in a 15-year range of time, these companies would actually thrive more than the others. And it's really interesting how in moments where we're in a crisis, such as 2008, we see how much there is a difference between conscious capitalism companies and other companies. And now in Brazil, with COVID crisis, we are really asking ourselves, is this going to happen again? Is this difference going to happen between the conscious enterprises and the common enterprises? And this is really, really important because conscious enterprises, they have people who are in love with that brand, and they don't really have customers, they have partners. So it's confident confidence-based relationships that are going through this company, and this brings a lot of performance. And we are really excited to see conscious capitalism stand out in market once again in this crisis moment. And what we've been doing in Brazil since 2013 is to create a community with enterprises that are engaged in changing and studying and learning together. How can we bring our conscious level even higher with companies that are genuinely engaged in doing this? And it's a really open movement for us to exchange and learn together. And this talk we're having today about carbon offset is really, really, really important. So I've heard about this recently through Tarsila, and I fell in love with this movement that is going on. And when I look at that number, that 8% of the Paris deal has been taken by this project, I actually perceive how potent this project is in helping our environment. And I'm really happy to find Renato and find Ben and to be involved with the enterprises that are doing this, and I hope we really expand this carbon neutralization through the project. Really happy to be here, and it's a pleasure to be with you guys. So, Tarsila speaking. Dario, it's amazing to hear you. You talk about healing, you talk about conscious leadership and working together and inspiring and regenerating economy. And now we have Ben to tell us about what is this dream and this amazing initiative that is Black Jaguar Foundation, and how do you work with enterprises, and tell us about also this relationship with Movida. And it's with you, Ben.
Thank you very much, Tarsila, for welcoming me. Thank you very much, all the members of Conscious Capitalism, Dario, and all the team of Conscious Capitalism, and of course, our power leader, Renato, and all the team of Movida to make our common dream a reality. So my name is Ben. I'm from the south of Holland. Maybe I'm based now in Holland, but my heart actually is also in Brazil. You know, I had the privilege to look for a beautiful black jaguar in the wild. I lived 5 months in the Cerrado and in the Amazon with natives, with biologists, to see a beautiful animal, the black jaguar. I did not see maybe the animal itself, but what I did see is the amazing beauty and the destruction, deforestation. So I'm a business person like most of you. I was a business person like most of you, and I've changed my life. And I said, let's not become a billionaire in cash, let's become a billionaire in trees. And this is what we can give to the next generation. So the Black Jaguar Foundation has one goal, and maybe not all of you know about us so well. So we have prepared a few slides to give you a bit of an insight in our mission and our goals, where we are today and where we are going, especially where we are going with you, the members of the Conscious Capitalism Brazil. I hope I can share. I hope you can see the screen. So we have only one clear dream, and the dream is to realize the restoration of the Araguaia biodiversity corridor. It's going to be one of the largest reforestation projects in the world. And where is this corridor? It's in the heart of Brazil. It's definitely very ambitious, but that's why we are with you. I think people who are ambitious, people who care about the planet, and people who care about their business. So the length of the corridor is 2,600 kilometers long, up to 40 kilometers wide. We work completely in line with the forest code in Brazil. And the deficit in the forest code within the corridor zone is over 1 million hectares. So we're going to restore over 1 million hectares with native trees. That means we will plant together over 1.7 billion native trees in the coming 15 years. So why are we a little bit different than many others? Of course, all nature organizations are great because we have only one planet. So there's no competition in nature organizations. But we do differentiate. We have only one project. So all our energy in Sao Paulo, in Berlin, in Munich, in Amsterdam is dedicated to do the restoration only of the Araguaia biodiversity corridor. So you can see it, it's transparent. Another we consider a great advantage is that we are handling the entire restoration process from the start with our own nurseries till the follow-up and the 3-year maintenance. So we have the whole process in our own control. And I think what is unique is our transparency and collaboration. Collaboration is in our DNA. That's why we are honored to be here today. That's how we share our values with, for example, many companies who have jumped on our mission. So you would ask yourself, how can you restore 1 million or maybe more hectares? So we work in line with the forest code of Brazil. So we are pro-business, we are pro even the government in terms of the environmental regulations, because not many media are talking about it, but Brazil has one of the best, if not the best environmental regulations in the world. And I think we should mention that. 20% in the south, 35% in the middle, and even 80% in the north have to be restored and have to be preserved for nature. So what do? We help these landowners to restore their land. And we help them reforest their land. We bring the science, we bring the finance, and we help and control the entire process. So we help the landowners to meet the environmental regulations of the forest code, because it has to be a win for the farmers. So I would like to give you a few updates. I know we have only a few minutes of where we are today in the field and where we are going. So where are we today? We have been working many years to build a healthy platform for our foundation, and we started to do the implementation of our field work in 2017. We have started only with homework. The first 100,000 native trees were grown. Each time we learn more, we can hire more forest engineers, we get more scientific partners. So this was quite a success. Then an amazing partnership was agreed and signed in the beginning of this year, before the Corona time, with Movida, with Renato and all the team, to sign for 1 million trees. And we are super honored. And I think later in this short presentation, we're going to celebrate the first 1 million trees planting. But where are we going? Because with 1 million trees, we are not there. We aim before 2025 to go for 10 million native trees. So Movida, of course, is powerful, but we cannot ask them to do another 9 million. We would love to invite you, members of the Conscious Capitalism, to become a partner with us, to give extra profit in terms for the planet and in terms of profit for your brand. So there are many ways you can build a partnership with us, and I'll come to that later. So I want you to know we have a clear goal. 1 million we are already planting in this and next rainy season, and we are open for partnerships to reach the next goal, 10 million native trees. And the beautiful thing of our work is, we in the past 40 years, so much has been deforested, but with our help of mankind, if we bring the right native trees back, nature will do the rest. So you can see in this image, this is on 2018, this is a small tree, which was only 4 months old, planted in our nursery, and this is how it happened. 1 year later, it became at 3 or 4 meters. So nature will come back, and we need nature more than always around. So to embark on such a huge mission of the Araguaia Biodiversity Corridor, we have asked an impact study to be carried out by top scientists from the University of Sao Paulo and the University of Illinois. 11 scientists have worked the full year of 2019 and the start of 2020 to analyze the economic, the social, and the environmental aspects. Because as Tarsila mentioned in the beginning, planting trees is just a way to bring back biodiversity. And this biodiversity corridor will help mitigate climate change. It will improve the air quality. It will provide food and forest products. Important is that it will preserve critical water sources in the Cerrado. Because without water in the ground, there's no agri company who can keep on producing healthy. We do not want them to depend more and more on fertilizers. We will help them with restoring their land so their soil become more healthy, and also they can produce better crops at a better rate. So keep in mind, we are pro-farmer and we are pro-business, because if we don't have the farmers and the business with us, we cannot restore nature, and we do need the nature, of course, together. And last but not least, I would like to mention that the impact of creating jobs. I will show this, what will be the impact of creating jobs in the Araguaia corridor zone. One of the elements came out from the Green Capital study, of the impact study, is that the entire corridor will ultimately capture 262 million tons of CO2. It will generate more than 37,000 jobs in the corridor zone, only related to the restoration. So how many women, how many families will benefit from bringing back nature? So as Renato mentioned, it's so much more than trees. This is life. So only together, we can make this possible. And that's why we honored that Dario said, hey, let's organize a webinar with Renato and our members, because we have to share our common mission. And let's invite the members of Conscious Capitalism and share the planting and celebrate the planting of the first 1 million trees. Keep in mind, maybe the name of our foundation is Black Jaguar Foundation. It's English. It's a bit of a gringo name, but for the rest, we are 100% Brazilian. Our work is in Brazil. Our heart is in Brazil. We know the rules and the regulations of the government, and most importantly, with the landowners. So this right now, today, we are planting, because the rainy season has begun, and in these weeks and months, and next year, in the next rainy season, we will plant 1 million native trees. So thank you again, Renato. We are honored, we are proud, and we will make your brand proud, and we will make the entire group of Rovira proud. So now we hope to invite you. Are you ready to partner with us too? All the members of the Capital Consciência Brazil. So you might want to ask, how can we build a partnership, with Black Jaguar Foundation? Is it only go carbon free? Yes, it's possible. But maybe you have your own sustainable development goals, and they are being shared with us, so we can communicate these SDGs together in a great campaign. I think we can be your plan for implementing corporate social responsibility. I think one of the other important ways to create a great partnership is sharing our values, because we cannot just jump and make a partnership with just anyone. I mean, we want companies to share our values to become a partner. And if companies do not preserve and care about the preservation for future generation, then I think it's difficult to work with us. So we are a little bit selective in our method of partnering with companies, but I think it will only benefit the planet on the long term. So muito obrigado. These were my part of the slides, and we hope and we are confident that we will go on this epic journey, yes, only together with you. So this is, I think, a summary of our mission. I would like just to close my explanation about hope, because if you watch the media and the news, there is always so much negativity about COVID, about deforestation, but you don't see the hope. You don't see the efforts are being done about restoration. There are many great companies, there are many fantastic people who are here to restore our planet, because we have only one planet. And I think the biodiversity corridor of the Araguaia at the Black Jaguar Nation is one mission of hope. And we are honored if you will join us. You could contact later on Daniela Garcia from Conscious Capitalism, and she will bring you in contact with two power ladies from the Black Jaguar Nation, Marina Tavares and Carol Sacramento. They're based in our office in Sao Paulo, and they are very keen to give you more insights in our foundation and in collaboration with your home. So thank you so much, Tarsila, and I give the word now to the great leader, Renato, how we started our journey with. Thank you.
Ben, it's always amazing and incredible to hear you. And that's why everyone who knows the project, as Dario said, we fall in love, because it's a project that makes come true our dreams. It's bold, it connects market and economy and environment and social with science, and it's very professional, and it's very transparent as well. So it's really, really, really a big honor for us to have you guys here with this amazing project in Brazil. So now I'll pass the word to Renato to tell us about Movida, that is associated to conscious capitalism, and talk about your purpose and vision you have for sustainability, and how you've been able to do this carbon offset for the cars you use. Thank you, Tarsila, for the words, and thank you, Ben. We really thank the honor of being in this webinar with so many visionary leaders that tell us about how to make a better world. So, firstly, I've had the honor to assume Movida, and I'll actually go a bit back in the story and talk a bit about how Movida starts. And Ferdinand Simões, he started to notice from the customer's point of view a bit of, he noticed when he started talking to his customers, a lot of people who are really in love with that brand. And from the start of Movida, he was really, really engaged and really in love with this idea of being carbon free and creating impact for people, not only enterprises, but all stakeholders involved. And we had a lot of people involved that wanted to create a better world. And this, from the start, we had these three main areas, and one of them was definitely how can we make a better planet and dealing with sustainability. And then the second one was how can we make transportations of people more efficient. And we've grown throughout these years, bringing people the access to car and to mobility, and then we got the price that big enterprises used to pay and offered it to common people. And we are not ashamed of saying that we do seek profit, and from that we mean to generate even more value to all the stakeholders involved. So yes, to the enterprise, but also to the people, to all our stakeholders. And for that, we also work with diversity indicators. So we do have a compromise of 50% women in the leadership board. And we have our indicators and we want to grow them even more. But most of all, we want to make better the planet that we live in and our country. And we want to better understand our customers. And I am only a student in this journey. Every day I meet new people and learn even more. And these people have been helping us to make even more professional our journey with this purpose. And usually we would just dream and go, and then talking to people and talking to these people that have this power and this want to change the world. We've been connected to these projects like Black Jaguar Foundations. And I want to recommend Ben's book to everyone. It's an amazing book. You can read it really, really easily. I've read it in a week. And I said, I really need to meet this guy. And I want to know this project. And over here I have with me my Black Jaguar. So when I got to know the project, I was really enchanted. And we had this match of values. So we want to work with sustainability and contribute to healing biodiversity, bringing social impact, bringing labor to these people. And Ben showed us the numbers. And I was really honored to go to these people that many of us Brazilians stay in the big centers and we don't actually know. And I was really honored to be there with Ben and to see what he saw. And there are 112 small cities that make the Cerrado region, where there is a very simple population that still doesn't have access to many things we have here in the big centers. And yes, we need to have economical and labor, and we need to take care not only of the environmental part, but also of the market and this kind of financial prosperity that comes with it. So we create jobs for people, and we can see their eyes shining as we see not only the trees going up, but also the people thriving in this new reality. And it's when you see the environmental situation, it's really sad. It's really, really bad what we've let happen when we look and we see that there are practically no trees. And I question myself, how did we get to this point? And I'm happy to say that our legislation helps us and that we have the resource and we have the compromise to change the situation. And even considering that my car runs on alcohol and ethanol, I think all of us have to look at environmental impact. And none of us are going to do anything alone. We have to look at it as a consumer, as an enterprise, as a society. So I believe the Brazilian people are good people to start off, just like me, but we don't know how to do. We don't know actually how to put it in practice. And when we bring a structured proposal of how to do, we really embrace stuff and we really make it happen. Just like Black Jaguar came to us. So the invitation that Ben brings us, I really reinforce it. And really reinforce to all the members of Conscious Capitalism and everyone that's listening to us today. And I'm sure we're going to, here with Conscious Capitalism, when we look at people and we see their happy faces and we see that we're really, really engaged and involved and dreaming together of doing this. So I have no doubt that we're going to have a big engagement from this webinar on, from the members of Conscious Capitalism, for us to go in and we know that it's a lot of time for us to recompone the carbon credit. And being with this community makes me really, really happy to know that we have the possibility and we have the resources and the people to go through these goals and actually make a turnover in the environmental reality. So let's do even more. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here in this webinar. Tarsila, Renato, it's a dream to hear you because you connect social impact, all the cities that are in the region of Cerrado, and the financial return these people have, and and it's amazing how you bring that. We only need a how, we only need a plan. We already have the dream. And it's really interesting because you said how we started really, really small in Movida, but even small, you already had that vision, that mission. So I'd like to ask you, how can a small enterprise, how can it connect itself to this theme? Is this a challenge only for the big enterprises, or is it possible for small companies to also engage? So if you guys want to comment on this question about the difference between big and small companies.
Yes, I will first start and then I think Renate will finish, but definitely we very much partner with also small and medium-sized companies. In fact, the past 7 years when we were able to grow from nothing to something was only supported by small and medium-sized companies. So right now, as we are in the planting mode, companies can also help us plant less than 1 million trees. Of course, we need to jump to the 10 million as our next goal, but a company can jump in and can say, okay, I will commit to 50,000 trees. Because each tree, is an element to make our planet and our corridor greener. So we invite smaller and medium-sized companies definitely as well. And we have special packages, benefit packages for any level of companies.
Great. It's good to compliment Ben saying that if you go to Black Jaguar's site, the average price for a tree is 20 reais, and there is an estimated data for us to compensate an average person's carbon footprint is an average of 3 trees a month. So any person or any small company can start this compensation, starting with 1 tree or 2 trees or 100 trees. So Renata speaking, just adding on to the topic. So Movida, even before meeting Black Jaguar, already did its compensation. And what I'd have to say is start doing what you can. And when we used to do it in the start, we didn't even have the financial and the economic bring back. And this is definitely more relevant in the long term than investing on marketing. And we see that investing on doing the right thing brings us even more customers than investing on CAC or other marketing indicators. And we have a cost to do these actions. And in practical terms, what brings people together is that what's truth. So there is no more space for doing only marketing to bring people in, and it's not true. What actually is valued is your cultures, your values. So it's the same thing in a career. There are times where you're studying and in a battle, and someone just says to you, "Oh, but you didn't have a higher payment for the studies you're going through." And it's not about that. It's about planting the seed of something that will become a tree, and in the future you'll have more trees. So if you have a person investing 60 reais in a month, because it's amazing, because we can't rely only on companies, because who does stuff, who makes things happen, even in companies or in personal life, are people. And when we start doing it, more people come. And of course, when we are in a big company in your leadership, you are an example. And then that's amazing. How you can see in conscious capitalism many different sized companies, even really big or really small. And we see many companies that are not taken down by the idea of not being born as a conscious company, but that are going through certification and becoming B Corps and changing because the vision has changed. And when we focus on impact, profit becomes a way of getting to our goal and not the goal in itself. And I think by doing these kind of initiatives, we can go through all dimensions. And there are many others that we can look at. So there are many things that can be done together with Black Jaguar Foundation. Ben has brought us sustainability and social impact, but we can also do education and many other things that are possible. And this is how we build this positive impact that we want to see for our society. And we have a lot to get better, but it's really amazing to see so many people engaged in making it better today. And I know we're not going to become the perfect country, but it's possible to make a lot of difference in many people's lives, because there are many unfair things we see every day, and we can do something. As he was speaking, yes, leadership is that. I'm going to get the questions. So, Ben, I'm going to ask you a question that is actually 3, and I'm putting it into 1 first to go through people's doubts. So the question is, Brazil's a big country, and why did the foundation choose Araguaia specifically for this project? And there's also a question from Fernando, and he's asking if the plantation of trees is certified for carbon offset. And these are the questions. certification and why Araguaia? And also a question about how do you convince the landowner of keeping the forest up after it's grown?
Thank you, Tarsila. I think all of the three are great questions. I will try to answer them quickly. First of all, why did we choose the Araguaia, the area of the Araguaia corridor? First of all, it was an initiative made from the Brazilians. A long study has been done, and the Araguaia River is the second river in Brazil who has only one electric water dam. So most of it is still intact, fortunately. And a second reason, as you can maybe see behind me, there is in the center still a lot of green. It's called the Bananal Island. Bananal Island is the largest river island in the world. 4 native tribes still live there. So to preserve also this area of native areas which are still intact, this river was chosen to make a biodiversity corridor, because there is still so much biodiversity intact and also so much was lost. So it's our job to help restore it. How do you keep the trees alive once we have planted them? So we only focus in the first many years on the deficit of the APPs, the permanent preservation areas. And in Portuguese, I think it's called APP. The only native trees are allowed to be planted there. These are the areas next to water areas like rivers, lakes, etc. And whatever government is in place, once you have planted native trees in these areas, not any government, anytime can take out one of these native trees. In fact, the value of the farm becomes higher, more valuable, once all the APPs have been restored and when all the legal reserves have been restored. So we focus only on the APPs in the first, say, 10 or 20 years, which an APP is part of the legal reserve. And do we have any certification or how do we measure the carbon from the trees being planted? Today we measure the trees being planted by scientists from universities. We are not part yet of a global consortium of tree certifications, but definitely this is our next goal. We will have an independent third-party certifier or auditor, I would say, because transparency is key. Come and visit us today. Of course, there is COVID, but we are working with 46 people today planting native trees, and we are honored to have a third party inspect us. So we will have an inspection of an auditing company inspect the planting of all our trees, and we will start with this probably at the end of this year. So we do not have an official carbon certificate from, for example, South Pole or other entities, but we are part of the open market, and that is already gives us a big chance to partner with many companies. So I hope to have given you some clarification in your answers, in your questions.
Thank you, Ben. Now I have a question for Renato. I'm going to put together two. So Renato, what's the size of Movida's compensation annually? And they'd also like to know if the people who rent the cars are invited to pay their compensation or if it's voluntary. And what's the biggest challenge of an open capital company to keep up this movement as a B Corp? So many questions. We've already planted 54,000 trees and 8 million of carbon emission neutralized. So now we're starting the initiative with Black Jaguar Foundation, and we have this compromise of 1 million trees, and we'll be investing on that in the next year up to 2022. So once we get there, we'll be in another level of biology impact. So with our customers, we have different strategies. So when you go into our site and rent a car, you are already included in donating £1 as you rent a car to the Black Jaguar Foundation. And people actually have to opt out if they don't want to contribute. It's a small money amount, and Movida does a compensation in addition. So today, Movida puts a lot of money to make this happen, but what we aim at is that so many people join the carbon-free movement. Our dream is to actually do this together in a bigger way with our customers. And we're starting this movement and we're really, really, really excited to start the movement. And we believe in the inertia that once the movement has been started and Movida is starting it, that our customers will come and do even more with us. And when you say about culture and being a B Corp, we have the privilege of starting small already with this purpose. We've grown with a very strong culture. So people ask, where is the sustainability director or area? And yes, we do have that person, but we have this culture overall in the company. Now, when we talk about our sustainability committee, that involves all of the directors, all of the leadership in the company. And we have a goal as a whole of doing sustainability projects. And that's really important. And that goes through our culture with people who work with us and people who are our customers. So if you ask people, we have this project in the goal, the level of engagement of the people who work with us is so big that people also have parallel projects of being carbon neutral. And of course, here in Brazil, you see this movement being really necessary. But even more, with time, we have even more people conscious of the need of us doing this actual change and being really, truly engaged on changing climate change. And just like Ben had this initiative, we have the people in Movida also having trainings and taking initiative. And even these courses that we offer for our collaborators, they are optional, but 90% of the people who work with us actually choose to be there. So no one's being obliged to look to sustainability, but we can see culturally how people really are engaged. And we are privileged to have this long-term vision. So none of us are engaged in just having short-term impact and then forgetting about it. So we're really happy to be with Black Jaguar Foundation and to look at this impact throughout the time and to have a team that's really aligned in this goal. And Black Jaguar in that way helped us may come true a lot of what we had as a dream. So now we have like Jaguar, it's so much easier for us to explain to our customers how our social and environmental impact happens. And now we can say we're not only planting trees, but we are actually restoring biodiversity and creating jobs and actually making thrive a whole community, not only planting trees, but by all that's involved in it. And Livia, who is a leader of sustainability inside Movida, and we see that finally the world is slowly coming back and people are traveling, and he's talking a bit about how COVID has been getting better in the world, and we can see society evolving in this gain of consciousness on using alcohol and gel and masks, and here in Movida we really focus on these kind of initiatives that have long-term impact, and that's really, really important for us. So amazing. We're getting to the end of our webinar. Oh, it's such a small time with so many amazing people. So just to be practical, Ben and Marina, people are asking, how can they participate? How can they help? So if you can tell us a bit, give us our website or maybe a contact where they can get in contact. And the other questions we'll be answering here through the chat. Yeah.
So the question is, how can they get in touch with the Black Jaguar Foundation? Is that the question? Fantastic. I think all of you will get to know my colleagues Marina Tavares and Carol Sacramento. And we will maybe send to all the panelists and all the subscribers of today a presentation either in English or in Portuguese with the contact details. www.black-jaguar.org is the website. And there is an email address right there, but we will send the presentation and the contact details of Marina and of Carol to you within now and the coming 24 hours. And we are honored to be in touch with you. And if you are a member of the Conscious Capitalism Brazil, then definitely Daniela is also in close contact with my colleagues, and we are ready to have online cafezinho and ready for the party. Yeah.
Thank you, Ben. So I'd like to invite you all for your final words. So Dario, then Ben, then Renato. So final words. So amazing. So great way to start the day, isn't it? So my final words are just to let you know that in a symbolic way, Conscious Capitalism Brazil is planting 117 trees. It's a symbolic act from the Institute to be a first step, and we invite everyone to calculate their impact and give this first step with us. So we're doing this for the 117 organizations that are with us, and all the material that we've use this webinar will be available for you guys. And Renato's also been invited to invite everyone that is a member from Conscious Capitalism to plant a tree and give this first step with us. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Dario. Ben, final words.
I would like to again thank the team of Conscious Capitalism to be part of this, to have shared our mission with you. I think it's amazing to see so much hope, from Brazil. There is, as Renato mentioned, there are the resources, there are the people, there's a desire to do something back for our planet. We don't need to wait 50 years for a miracle to happen. We can create this miracle today. We cannot do this alone, but we need the business and we need the nature. So I think it's a beautiful way of connecting, and I fully connect. Black Jeff Nation fully connects with conscious capitalism. We need business. We need to be conscious, and I think that's why this webinar could not be better to have brought the mission to all your members. And I look forward to another session where we can share the results, not only of Movida, but also the results with some of the members of Conscious Capitalism in the future. So thank you once more, also Tarsila, for your amazing work and connections, and we love you all from the heart. Thank you.
So very amazing. I'd like to thank the invitation for being here. The biggest purpose isn't just doing, but engaging people to do even more. So I'd like to reinforce the invitation for everyone who's watching us, all the members of Conscious Capitalism, not only as companies, but as individual people, to get to know the project. And once you get to know it, I'm sure you'll engage. And I'm sure this webinar has helped to engage. And just like we did, I'm sure you'll get engaged, and we'll be able to increase our speed on this journey. And hopefully we'll get to the point where we'll say, Ben, find another river, because the Araguaia region we've done already. So here we go. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm really energized of this webinar, and I've remembered a Brazilian singer that you need to meet that says that a dream that you dream alone is only a dream, and the dream that you dream together is reality. So a great day to you all. Thank you so much for being here, and see you next time.